It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5-106.3 The Game. He is Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos on this Thursday. Joe, what's up, man?
Chaser, it's so good to see you. It helps when you press the microphone on button.
It does.
But what a day, man. It's day only happens once every 4 years. Welcome to leap year, February the 29th.
Yes, it is leap year, so we will obviously discuss that. Predators back in action tonight, looking to make it 7 in a row against John Hines and the Minnesota Wild at Bridgestone Arena.
What are we doing with that? What, is that your Minnesota accent?
You know what? You do your dumb things, and I'll do my dumb things.
Well,
How about that?
I've got plenty of those. I've got you beat there, buddy. I have turned Roman Josi from, he is where's he from again? Switzerland? Sweden, somewhere?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. I've turned Roman Josi into Italian, right?
Yeah, Roman Josi.
Roman Josi. So I've been able to do that. So I've not. I think I've actually done that to him, and he didn't faze him at all. So that's what we're welcome for 2 hours of nonsense, friends.
That's what we do.
I got a quick little. I know we say this for I'm done, but I got another quick little rant. Can I do this real quick?
I actually have a quick little rant too. So yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, I know Robbie and Rexo do that at 7:45, and I love it. The one with Joe and the mint in his pocket was just disgusting.
That's funny.
It was great. So my rant is, if there are two cars in front of you, right, and the first car is turning right and the blinker's on, the backup car, the car behind him in front of you, if you're not turning right, don't put your signal on to let me know that car is turning right. That's wrong. I think it's against the law. I'm going to look this up, but don't signal for the guy in front of you to let me know that he's turning right, all right? I'm concerned about you, not the car in front of you. It happened this morning, and I was, two cars, the blinker's on to go right. First one does, second one doesn't, and I realized what they were doing. Stop signaling for the car in front of you. I'm not going to hit you in the back end. If I was going to hit you in the back end, I wouldn't pay attention to your lights anyway. So stop doing that. That's my rant for today, and I'll move on.
Okay, that's a good rant.
Thank you, buddy.
Mine is, I was listening to the end of Robbie and Rex Road. And by the way, enjoy the new headphones, because Joe complained that I guess we had one ear working, and I said, look, if I don't know about it, I can't fix it. So there you go.
So I know now who runs the radio station.
Yeah, that's
what Joseph Rex Road.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. There are people that think they run the radio station,
right?
But that would be me.
Oh,
at least on this side of things.
Good.
Actually, I guess technically Sean and then Bud, but for our purposes, we'll just go with this.
Yeah, I like you, man. You're the boss.
But anyway, so I was listening to them, and they're talking about this report card, for the NFLPA.
Yeah.
And I guess somebody texted in, and I'm paraphrasing, but was like, oh man, millionaires are complaining that their families aren't taken care of or whatever. That is such a tired and old response when you don't like something that a professional athlete does. It's like, oh, they're millionaires, they should be fine. Like, they're still normal people, they just make more money than you. That just, at the end of the day, I know that pisses people off, but guess what, you're not all gifted to be an athlete, to be
Okay.
in the NFL. Like, I'm not gifted enough to be in the NFL.
But you understand where this is coming from.
I do, but I don't agree with it.
Okay, that's fine.
Like, I mean, okay, they make, you're right, they make millions of dollars. The
whole, I'm not sitting up front on a plane. I've been on those Titans charters. Those players don't want to sit up front. They take everything from the back half of the plane and on. And they've got their own seats. Most of them have their own rows. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I also understand where, it's like, oh, is that what you're bitching about? You're complaining about this? I mean, is this what we're complaining? I understand that. But the one about the charter plane in the front of the thing, and I get that.
And the families, like that whole thing. And it's just like, no, I mean, I think as an NFL franchise and Joe did a great job of saying it, that are run by billionaires, that the billionaires should be able to make sure that the families are taken care of.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a millionaire. Like, I mean, I would love
you
to
are
have
to me.
Thank you. I would love to have, no worries, in the world. I mean, they have different kind of worries. But,
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, man.
But
I
like
know some
finance,
I know some very unhappy rich people.
as the Beatles once said, money can't buy me love.
No, did the Beatles say that, or did
That was
Billy Ocean?
That was the Beatles.
I know. I get it.
Maybe Billy Ocean.
It may be. No, I understand that. And, I had some people who were texting me throughout the day about that list, what's going on, and some agreed that it's a bunch of hogwash to get together and just, like we talked, and like at the, hey, I need those things by 11. You fill it out at 10:58 and get it in there and do all that stuff. And so I don't know what's real and what's not real. I mean, that's the thing. We had fun with it yesterday, but the complaining about, the food, you get fed like 3 times. Access being the media, I've been in that media the kitchen over there at Baptist Sport with St. Thomas, whatever it is. That's some damn good food. I'll tell you right now, that's some damn good food they get served over there. So to see the players yelping about that, I was like, come on.
Donovan says, Joe, I love your that was me that did it. Joe, I love your Minnesota accent. I was born and raised there. Don't you know? Betcha. LOL. Donovan. That was me that did it.
Okay.
Not you.
Please take credit for that. It's Chase McCabe on the Minnesota accent.
So, by the way, there's a texter that I guess I've just noticed this, and now I'm fascinated by it. Matt Q, that I guess hates Rexroad, calls him the Lansing loser.
The alliteration's fantastic.
He just said he is the obese Lansing loser, no doubt, y'all. Like, why do you hate Rexroad so much? What did he do to you?
Oh, yeah.
I want to know now.
Now Rexroad, great job. Now Rexroad's going to fret all day long about this one guy who doesn't like him. It's all right, Joe. We love you, brother. Don't worry about it, man.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Kyle, I guess, disagrees with me. It's disgraceful to call that a tired argument. Maybe people would feel a little bit better about these arguments if they didn't have to pay to watch playoff games, pay out the ass to attend a game, or pay higher taxes for the sport. These guys are profiting from that, and it's not just the owners taking advantage.
Good job, Kyle. Ratio him, Kyle.
I mean,
sweep the leg, Kyle.
Then don't go. Then don't watch. Like, if it bothers you that much, then don't watch.
But they're not good. They're always – there are
I know, but, like, this is what I – and, Kyle, I mean, thank you for texting in. I appreciate it. But I love when people, bitch and moan about millionaires and about the NFL and the billionaires and – this is that things are so – you're right. Prices are way too high. I agree with you. I'm not disputing that.
Well,
but guess what? You pay it and you go.
Right, 8797. But for the millionaires to be mad at the billionaires, is that the same concept of the average person saying the millionaires have the money? Man, that's a lot of millionaire, billionaire talk to hurt my head, 8797. Thank you for that as well. Can I bounce out the question real quick? Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Okay. We're going to do something?
No.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
Do it.
I just want to get it out there so we get so today's leap year. And my question is, do we really need leap year? I mean, look, I know you scientific nerds are going to text in and tell us why the balance of the earth needs this day. I get all that. But really, do you notice a difference? Do we really need a leap year? If so, let me know why we need a leap year beyond the atomic clock is reset or whatever nonsense that I don't understand. And if we don't want it, tell me why. I mean, do we really, Chase, do we need a leap year? Do you really need a leap? Do you need February 29th?
I mean, do we need daylight savings time?
No.
I mean, there's all these old antiquated things that we have that I don't. I mean, leap year doesn't bother me. I've never even thought about it until you texted us and said the question of the day.
Right.
And I was like, is this really a thing that bothers people?
I would think so. I mean, it's only happened once every 4 years, and I feel sorry for the people who are born on February the 29th. I really do. Because when do you celebrate your birthday? It's like you're forgotten.
You're like 4.
We will never forget those who are born on February the 29th. Never. If you're born on February 29th, call us, text in, tell us what it's like to have your birthday once every 4 years. When do you celebrate it? I'd celebrate it every damn day if I could. If I was born on February 29th.
On leap year?
Yeah. Why not? What do you?
I mean, I turned mine into like a month.
Might as well.
Not really. I mean, I used to.
So I'm just curious, why do you think we need a leap year? I mean, are you getting something out of it? I don't know. I'd like to know. I live in a bubble, Chase. I don't know.
615-737-1025. Sean on our text line says I sound a little entitled, I guess, about my argument.
Yeah. Well, you went to FRA, so yeah.
See, there you go. I hate that one too. I hate the stereotyping. Don't stereotype me.
You just got to just take it, Chase.
I know.
I've been down that road as well.
Oh, yeah, another private school guy over here, the Father Ryan guy. I get it.
I will throw you through the table, Joe.
I'll help you.
You know who listens to this show is one Blair Durham. So, Mr. Durham, if you get a chance, have you on retainer as we will, as Dr. Crane has threatened to throw me through the window, and then Chase is going to be an accessory to that. So I look forward to you with the lawsuit against him.
Hal Gill says a year is 365 and 1/4 days long. Need a leap year, bro.
But are you noticing it? I mean, why? What if we don't have it? Does the Earth tilt off his axis? I mean, I don't know.
I would prefer not to find out if that's the case.
Exactly. No, I get, the quarter of a day, but who determined that? I don't understand. I mean, I know, look, again, all you scientific nerds are going to text in. That's fantastic. You can throw me under the bus. That's fine. But I just, do you miss? I mean, really, if we didn't have it, would you notice?
We just had somebody call in. His name was Jason, and he said he had a friend of his who's no longer with us. He basically had a birthday on leap year and did not get drafted to the Vietnam draft because his birthday was on a leap year, so he had nothing to worry about.
Oh, wow.
Well, way to bring that show down.
I just want to pass him.
No, I'm kidding.
Big engagement today. He said he loved the show, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Rex Road has now texted us saying the same thing that Hal said. So that's why you have the leap year, because of the 365 and 1/4 days.
Way to Google there, Joe, and figure out what it was. Great job. We get that, but do you miss it? If we didn't have it, would you care? Would your life be different?
Apparently, according to, I mean, I can't read half of this, but apparently people that are smarter than us, it would throw everything off. It would almost be like if you went back in time and you stepped on a bug, like what effect that would have.
Okay. All right. Now I'm totally confused. I get what you're saying.
Heard that? You've heard that, like if you with time travel. I mean, I don't think we've done time travel. Maybe we have. I don't know. But like, if you go back and you change something in history, then it's going to change everything moving forward.
Okay. I get it.
Like I used to say, somebody would ask me the question, you could go back in time and change something. What would you change? I would go change Dale Earnhardt getting killed. Which, if I did that, obviously Dale Earnhardt would survive, but it would change. Think about all the things that could change.
But then maybe your mind is whoosh, and then it's back to him.
Could be.
Real quick, there's one of my favorite movies, a movie called Final Countdown. It is where the USS Nimitz goes back in time in 1980 to World War II, the day before Pearl Harbor. It's a great movie. Martin Sheen, great movie. And they go back
Martin Sheen.
And they go back in. Kirk Douglas is in it. I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest movies, underrated of all time. Final Countdown. They go back in time to December 5th, 1941. They finally figure out where they are on December the 6th. And they say, what do we do? And Martin Sheen says, look, you work for America. You defend America no matter where and when you are. So this whole argument came up of Martin Sheen says, all right, are we sure we're going to do this? Because listen, then this has got me. If we go back in time, right, Chase, you go back in time to meet your grandfather when he's 15 years old, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You get into a fight. You kill your grandfather. If you kill your grandfather, you're never born. If you're never born, how can you go back in time to fight your grandfather? I mean, in the movie, the whole movie, you're thinking, okay, my head just exploded.
That's a mind leap.
Is it not?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you could figure that out. So this whole ties into the leap year thing, and what you're talking about is like, do we notice? Do we need it? What goes on? I don't know. It's an argument we have once every 4 years, and today's the day. So thank you for my little walk down the lane here.
We're getting some texts on our personal text line that are pretty funny.
Oh, gosh.
615-737-1025. Kenny, hold on. We'll get to your call next. We're down a rabbit hole this morning here on the Chasing Big Joe Show, presented by Regal Realty Group, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Well, I didn't mean for it to do that, but
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game here on this Thursday, discussing leap year and why we need it. Apparently, if we got rid of it, Christmas could end up in July, which is when Die Hard came out, which I think is a Christmas movie. So, hey, that works out.
2211. I think if you move 1/4 day, eventually daylight hours would change, would take years, but would change. Seasons would change the months. No, I'm not reading all that nonsense. Thank you, 2211, for listening. But
2758. We should adopt a 13-month calendar, exactly 28 days in each month, exactly 4 weeks in each month. Hey, then we could have Smarch. For you Simpsons fans out there. Stupid Smarch weather.
Oh, goodness.
Let's go to the phones. Kenny wants to weigh in. Kenny, what's up?
I think most of your texters made my point, but yes, it takes 365.25 days for the Earth to go around the sun. If we just had 365 days, then every 4 years we're losing a day and our seasons would all be off. So when we're 80 years old, that's a 20-day difference. So we'd be rocking chairs, talking about back in the day when we started the summer break, it was actually summer and warm outside. And that's just our lifetime. But as generations go on, it would just, like, July would be Christmas, which seems just crazy that you would be okay with that.
But, Kenny,
eventually it would circle back, right?
Right, Kenny.
Oh, well, yeah, eventually it would. But, for many years, summer break would be in the middle of the winter.
But how do we really know, Kenny? How do we really? I mean, are we missing this day? I mean, do we really need it?
It is. It's working for us right now. Like, as our schedule goes, our seasons are sticking to schedule. So it seems like something's right.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, maybe that's what they told us. I mean, I was told 2 + 2 is 4. What if 2 + 2 is 5? I mean, I don't know, and my head hurts now.
You got a good point.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good day.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you listening. Thank you.
6809 says, please get Chase another show talking about things that don't have anything to do with sports. You're the one that brought this up. I'm not even the one that brought this up.
Yeah.
6809.
Why can't we talk everything?
Yeah, we can talk everything.
A lot of sports.
Why don't you just quit texting? You annoy me. 0088. In the short term, the extra day for leap year isn't a big deal, but over the course of 100 years, you'd be 25 days behind. Yeah, we got it. We understand.
But how, really? I mean, okay. Can't we just, add a extra zero to that? I mean, this is just – I'm worried about the now.
Mean, everybody complaining about that it would throw the seasons off. Tennessee doesn't have seasons anyway. So, I mean, we get 1 week of fall and then it's, winter and then –
We have seasons every day. Just about.
True. Yeah. It'll be different every day. That's what it is.
So what does that mean for, like, people across the other side of the pond? Like, for example,
Antioch?
No, not that. Australia, like, they celebrate Christmas in July or something because it's cold?
No, they still observe what we observe. It's just they're thrown off. I mean, so right now it's 1 billion degrees in Australia and New Zealand down that way. It's the flip-flop of us. They're the 180 of us.
1978 says 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. Damn it. 3280 sports guys talk physics and this is the result.
Thank you so much. The best text of the day right
that's
there.
A good one. Little news out of the NASCAR world, which I find very interesting. The Athletic just breaking this. Andrew Marchand, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leaving NBC, and he's headed to racing newcomers Amazon Prime Video and Warner Brothers Discovery, or TNT. So he's expected to take the year off from the broadcast booth and then resume his broadcasting career in 2025 when TNT and Amazon begin their coverage. He did tweet, he hasn't confirmed it, but he did tweet that there's a Junior Motorsports announcement coming up at 10 a.m., so I don't know if that's
Are you shocked by
part
this?
of it. Not really. I knew that his contract was up and that he'd be a hot commodity. I think Fox, contacted him and talked about a 4-man booth, putting him up with Harvick and Boyer, and I knew he'd be. I mean, he's gotten really good at it. Like he had to work at it. Like I think when he first started, he really showed some growing pains, but he's put a lot of work into it. And now he's obviously knowledgeable in the sport.
Who's the best?
The best analyst?
Yep. Larry McReynolds.
Well, Larry's pretty good at the crew chief part. That's a good question. I mean, I probably would say Dale Jr.
Tony Stewart?
Tony was good at it when he would do it, yeah, but he doesn't want to do it full time.
Okay.
So
I don't watch enough to know who's the top
I think
of the line, but
I think that why am I blanking on his name? His crew chief on NBC. Why am I blanking on his name?
Brian Pogue.
No. Anyway, I'll get to it in a second. I'll think of it. Steve Letarte. Steve Letarte's pretty good at it. He's a former crew chief. So I would say he's up there.
So this starts next year?
Yeah, with the new TV deal.
Do you
that they
think
got.
this move kind of goes with this, like, I don't know if you saw the news probably a month or two ago about TNT, ESPN, they're all kind of doing this little conglomerate of, like, making this one big sports, like, app where you can watch all
Yeah.
sports. Do you think this has something to do with it?
No, but I'm curious about that. I think I don't know. I don't know where all this is going, but I mean, Amazon has shown you that they have deep pockets, and they're in the NFL game, they're in the NASCAR game now,
Baseball.
they're in baseball, so they're getting in everything. Netflix bought WWE, Raw, they're gonna have Raw, so I mean, just the streaming game is not going away by any means, and there are going to be people that say I'll never watch it. And that's fine. Then sit there and watch your stories and miss things.
Well, I will, pal.
You can watch your, Magnum PI reruns and be happy.
And Miami Vice.
Miami
I
Vice.
do that. Okay.
And MASH.
MASH.
I'm not a MASH fan.
Really?
I mean, it's a great show. I just never got into it. I mean, great. It's the 8-year show about a 3-year war. So it's come on, that was funny. Good Lord, you guys. Lord.
I'm going to be honest. I kind of tuned out for a second.
That's all right.
615.
26 minutes. It's okay, buddy.
I'll pull a Jared. I don't know why I'm giving the number out. Coming up next, Greg Wyshynski going to join us from ESPN. A lot going on with the NHL. The trade deadline is at the end of next week, and the Predators are streaking. We'll get his thoughts on that. Coming up next, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. All right, ESPN Bet, it's live in Tennessee. And for those of you that haven't taken the leap and signed up yet, see what I did there? As the official sportsbook of ESPN, ESPN Bet is the only place to find daily exclusives and offers with your favorite ESPN personalities and shows. You can sign up today, and new users get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. Find all your favorite markets and bets like in-game wagering, cross-sport parlays, teasers, and all the props you can handle. ESPN Bet. Download today. What a play. You must be 21 years or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, the game on this Thursday. And every Thursday at this time, we chat with our man Greg Wyshynski from ESPN, senior NHL writer with them. Also see him on the TV as well. Greg, what's up? How are you, my friend?
Doing well. I guess the trade deadline began in earnest last night with the Tanev trade to Dallas. So now I'm like a doctor on call. I got to walk around in life waiting for another trade to happen so I can grade it sufficiently on ESPN.
So we think that might be the first domino, huh?
Well, it always works like that. I mean, even you think back to the Elias Lindholm trade with the Canucks. I mean, that happened, and then a few days later, Monahan gets traded to the Jets. It's usually, one domino falls and the rest topple behind it. But the thing that's wild to me is the price that Dallas paid for Tanev last night, which I thought was really low. I gave Calgary a C- on my report card because I'm not a huge fan of the prospect they got back, and they got a second rounder that's going to be pretty low in the second round, and a third rounder that might not even exist if the Stars don't make the Stanley Cup final. To get that back for Tanev after keeping 50% of his salary on the cap is I thought it was a big disappointment. And if you're somebody who has one of these defensemen, the Predators included with Carrier, like you got to be looking at that return they got last night and being like, that's it for what was supposed to be the best defensive defenseman on the market.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one for sure. So I know the rumors with UC Saros continue to be out there. Barry Trotz was on our afternoon show on Tuesday and basically said that as long as his team's in the playoffs, unless he is completely blown away, he's not planning to trade UC Saros, which I think was always kind of the case. But for him to come out and say it, got people talking. What are your thoughts on that, and what would completely blow him away in your mind?
I mean, probably something like 2 firsts or something like that, 2 firsts and a prospect, like the kind of trade that's being bandied about for guys like Jake Gensel. And then, when the GMs hear what the price tag is, they all tell their media proxies, that's insane. So that kind of return would probably be like the thing. But it's interesting to look at the goalie market now at the deadline, which we all thought was going to be really robust. And we were going to have teams like the Devils and the Kings and others, trying to improve their back end at the deadline. I mean, Saros, like you said, probably isn't going anywhere when the Predators have a better than 50% chance of making the playoffs, which is what they have right now. Markstrom, same deal. Calgary is right in the thick of things. I've heard from a lot of different people that their ownership group is very desirous to make the playoffs, get that playoff revenue, and trading Jacob Markstrom doesn't necessarily serve that purpose. And then Marc-Andre Fleury is not going anywhere. I had reported a few weeks ago that if the Minnesota Wild were in a playoff race, at the deadline, he wasn't going to be moved, and the team has kind of put it out there that that's certainly the case right now, and he doesn't have any desire to move too. He's got some trade protection there. So, those are 3 big names that are off the goalie carousel now at the deadline. So you're looking at, Jake Allen, Capo Kakinen from the Sharks, and maybe a couple of other lesser names where the big dogs might not move at the deadline.
Greg Wyshynski is with us from ESPN here on the Chasing Big Joe show.
Greg, outside the bubble of us here in Nashville, the Preds on the 6-game winning streak, what is sticking out to you about what's making this team go now? I mean, obviously we see them every day, but you're not in Nashville. You see it from the 5,000-foot view on the sky. What's working so well for this hockey team right now?
Depriving them of joy would be the answer. Again, the X's and O's of this thing and what they're doing on the ice matters not to anybody who's taken a long view of this thing. It's the fact that Barry Trotz and Andrew Brunette stepped up and decided to take something away from them. It's a very sort of primal. I got a newborn. She was born in January. This is a primal parenthood thing of taking something away from your child so they'll better understand what they should and shouldn't do. Right? So I mean, sometimes you have to do that with professional athletes. It's the same bit of psychology. It's very human. It's very basic. It's very lizard brain. But at the end of the day, it got their attention, and they went on a tremendous winning streak on the road. It's carried over. They've certainly established themselves as a team to beat for the wild card. Again, over a 50% chance of making the playoffs, according to Stathletes right now. So we're going to look back at if they make the playoffs, we're going to look back at this moment and applaud Trotz and Brunette for their leadership, and B, wonder how many other teams are going to dangle something in front of their players when they visit Vegas, only to yank it away. The ticket sales for David Copperfield are going to plummet with all these NHL teams that no longer go to the shows.
Oh, that's good. Maybe if the Preds do this run and win the Stanley Cup, we can get you two to come to Nashville and perform. You lead into a great question,
That would
Greg.
be awesome.
Would it not? You lead into a great question, Greg. Across other professional sports, I don't think this would work. If you went to the Atlanta Braves and said, "Hey, we're not going to go," I think there'd be so much pushback from other sports leagues. The fact there was no pushback here is kind of beautiful in a way, I think.
It's very hockey. I mean, it's very hockey, salt of the earth, blue collar. You do what you're told, not the name on the back, the logo on the front. Can you imagine an NBA team being told that they can't go see Beyonce at the Sphere or something? Like, they're going. You're not stopping them. and then if they decide they don't want to play the next game, they just won't play. It's a very, very different sort of thing. I hate doing the please love my sport thing, but you're absolutely right in the sense of, like, this is something that probably only flies with a certain kind of player, and hockey just tends to have more of them.
It's very hockey, but also I don't know if everybody in hockey could have gotten away with it. I think it just shows you the respect that Barry Trotz has throughout the league, that he was able to do something like that. And when he said, "This is what we're doing," everybody goes, "Well, we got to listen because it's Barry Trotz."
Right, and they also sucked at that point too. Like, it's not as if they had a counter argument of, like, well, we've been doing, Mom, we've been doing all our homework.
Been trying really hard.
Yeah, we're trying really hard. No, they were terrible. Like, so they didn't even have a leg to stand on, and as far as counter argument goes.
Greg, let me ask you this question. We had Roman Josi on yesterday, and we talked about missing teammates, and he named a couple that, like, he misses Shea Weber and all that. Have you ever seen a team when a guy gets traded where they miss him so bad that it upsets the locker room? I know that's kind of a vague, big question, but is there anything that comes to mind like that? Because I'm thinking, when Shea Weber gets traded, like, God, the guy was kind of a mentor to me. He's gone now. The locker room really liked him. Does anything stand out to you where a guy gets traded and the team is kind of like, oh, my goodness?
Oh, sure. I mean, the one that comes to mind is probably San Jose when you started to see some of those big players leave. I mean, Joe Thornton was like the sun around which everything revolved, and once it became time for him to go, it changed everything. Same with Patrick Marleau. It's usually one of two kind of scenarios. It's either that one, it's a business, and there's a contract dispute. They're going to be a free agent, so you have to kind of get ahead of them leaving anyway to trade them, and that's just like, if you talk to players, they understand why it happens. It's a bummer, but you understand why it happens. And then the second thing is usually, like, significant, important players in your locker room are gone because your team is just like descending down the standings and going into a rebuild or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, there are certain guys that hold the room together. They're glue guys. Like, they're players that mean extraordinarily important things behind the scenes, and if they get shipped out, it changes the chemistry and the dynamics of the locker room, but not always to the bad thing. I mean, think about Roman Josi, and think about, like, if Weber's not there, and I forget if he crossed paths with Suter or not, or if that predated him, but, like, when you take away veterans from the room, that puts more onus on a guy like Roman to mature and to be more vocal and to be more important behind the scenes, and sometimes that's what's best for young players.
Greg Wyshynski is here with us. The Minnesota Wild in town tonight against the Predators, and they're 7-2-1 in their last 10. John Hines takes over, and they obviously showed some streakiness and kind of up and down. What do you think about them and their chase to make the playoffs? Basically a wild card position at this point.
Yeah, no, they have only about a 25-26% chance of making the playoffs right now, according to StatLeak. So it's not. The odds are not in their favor, but they've certainly, turned things around. They're playing better. They found a little bit more identity under Hines, I think, in recent weeks. And they still have a pretty talented roster. They hit on a line with, I think it's Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, and Boldy. That's been insane if they're still together. I mean, they had a good 2 or 3 week stretch where they were maybe the best line in hockey. But the Hines thing's interesting. You guys know I'm based in New York, and the Islanders are here, and there's a lot of debate on whether or not what the Islanders did with their coaching situation, bringing in Patrick Waugh, just was too late. Like, you need a little bit of runway to figure things out with a new coach. And Hines, the Hines move was made at the right time. I think the Blues made their decision at the right time. I think they've played better under Bannister, and obviously the Oilers clearly made their move at the right time. But for teams like the Kings and teams like the Islanders, you need a lot of time to get used to the new guy and understand what's demanded and play different systems, and maybe they've just waited too long.
So Dallas has made their trade, or maybe one of their trades. They might tinker a little bit. What could be some moves that we could see the other top dogs in the league make that would actually help them down this stretch?
I think all eyes are on Vegas, and maybe to a lesser extent Colorado. Colorado is everybody's assumed that they're going to trade for a center. I mean, as you guys probably know intimately, Ryan Johansson has not necessarily worked out for them the way they thought they would this season. So the thought is that the Avalanche could still be in the market for a center. Obviously, that whole part of the trade deadline derby has changed with Lindholm and Monahan off the board. You're looking at guys like Adam Henrique or maybe some guys that have a little bit of term, so who knows where they go. But Vegas is the one that we're all looking at because of their ability to now clear cap space with Mark Stone with the lacerated spleen. They've got his cap space to play with if he goes on long-term injured reserve. And then they can kind of do the same thing that they've done before, which is have Mark Stone miraculously return for game one of the playoffs and then have a fresh new trade deadline acquisition on the roster as well. And again, it's not to say they're faking injuries. I had this whole debate on our podcast that dropped this week. No one's saying he's faking a lacerated spleen. No one's saying that Vegas is faking surgeries and stuff like that. But there's no question in this league that there are players that are healthy enough to play in Game 82 that don't play in Game 82 but are healthy enough to play in Game 1 of the playoffs. And that's what we're talking about. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not a salary cap guy. I'm all for circumvention. But the Vegas fans who are deluding themselves that this is how it works are just, looking stupid.
Greg, since you are a lot smarter than Chase and I are, we have a question that we threw out to our audience today. Do we really need a leap year? And we understand how that sets off the science, and all the science nerds are texting in, but do we really need a leap year, in your opinion, Greg?
Well, the thing my wife and I were talking about yesterday was this idea of, if you were born on leap day, that means you then get to pick your birthday. You pick the last day of February or you pick March 1st. But the thing I was thinking was, and I don't know anybody who was born on leap day, but the thing I was thinking was, since it only comes around every few years, the idea that you would have these crazy hedonistic parties when it's actually your birthday, which doesn't always exist in every year, is something that I find that kind of appealing. Everybody gets invited for birthday drinks and stuff, and it's the same usual crap every year. But if your birthday is a leap day, well, now you've got something. Now it's like you're the Olympics. You only come around every few years.
So we'll take the answer as a no. We don't need a leap year. We love it. I agree. We don't need the extra day. That's fantastic. Thank you, Greg.
Cool. Anytime.
Yeah, good to see you, Greg. Appreciate it. Talk next week. Greg Wyshynski joining us here on the program. ESPN senior NHL writer, always bringing it. And look, next week will be the day before the trade deadline. Things will be heating up for sure. So you got your trade big board that you're working on?
I'm good. What's funny? I bet he hangs the phone up and shakes his head like, why do I go on that show?
He likes it.
Who was the guy that slammed the phone down? Speaking of NASCAR.
Alan Bestwick.
Was that who it was? Yeah. Slammed the phone down. We were done. We're like, hey, have a good day. And he didn't say goodbye. It was so loud. He slammed the phone so loud. We actually came back from the break. I think it was me, you, and Greg Pogue. We laughed for 5 minutes on the air, and we played that because he slammed the phone down so hard. It wasn't a goodbye, thanks for having me on. Yeah. Nothing. It was fantastic.
Justin in Greenbrier sends us a nice note. Chase and Joe, the tangents are why I listen to your show. Apparently, I am a poet and didn't know it. Sports talk is great, but when you guys just throw out random topics to see what the audience thinks, it kind of breaks up the monotony. There's only so many times you can ponder the draft and other sports woes in a slow season. Keep up the good work, guys, and never stay on topic. I love it. Justin,
thank you, Justin.
We couldn't if we tried.
Was that Justin or Jonathan?
Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
That was Justin.
Well, we can't do this topic in a week.
No.
We have to do it.
Nick, am I right in saying somebody texted in and said Nashville SC can finally celebrate their first anniversary? Was their first game on Leap Day?
God, it was.
So. Yes.
I think you're right. In 2020?
It was the last game before the COVID hit, and we couldn't. Yeah,
I think
correct.
they got 2 games. Did they get 2 games in or just the one?
I think just one. It could be two. I'll double check.
Yeah,
You're the soccer man. Look it up.
because the Preds were playing, and then Nissan was packed.
Remember, I think one of the last Preds games they won with 0.1 second
Yeah.
on the clock.
And they had won 3 in a row going on the road to Toronto, and I'll never forget. Darren and I are in a break, and Willie calls us and like, "Hey guys, we're coming home." Like that. That was when everything shut down. But we'll get back to your texts and your calls here on the Chasing Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. TV theme Thursday. Little Friends bringing us back. Who did it? Was it the
Rembrandts.
The Rembrandts.
Great
Yeah.
story because they had another song that nobody liked they're going to use, but somebody on the production was dating the road manager for the Rembrandt, something crazy, and they say, hey, what about this song? And they played it, and then it became the song.
Did you watch I was really into Friends more at the end and, after it was off, but the reunion show they did?
Did not.
What was
good?
really interesting about it was basically David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston admitted that they actually had a crush on each other, but they were both in relationships at the time.
Oh, okay.
So when the whole Ross and Rachel thing was heating up, like they actually liked each other, but never did anything about it because they were in relationships.
Was she dating Mr. Brad Pitt, the most overrated
I think
actor
she was
of all time?
married to Brad Pitt.
Oh,
at
well, that
point.
would be that'd be a little kick in the armor there.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
appreciate Greg Wyshynski for joining us. Byron says, Wifey and I were talking this morning. We don't really have an opinion on leap year, but think we're the only people in the world who actually like daylight savings. The whole getting dark at 4:30 really makes us appreciate spring. We just went off topic on your off topic.
Right. Well, there you go.
I'm going to disagree because I can't that is one that I think should just completely go away.
Really?
Is like just keep it one time, and a lot of states are getting rid of it. Like we don't need it anymore. Like it makes sense back in the 1800s of why you did it, but like it doesn't anymore.
But we've been talking about this for many, many years, and nothing ever gets resolved or rectified. We
It probably
go
never
on
will.
this. Yeah, we'll never will with this. And so
We talk about a lot of stuff that never gets resolved or rectified.
it ends up on somebody's desk where it sits for a long time. I had to laugh this.
80-year-old men then
Right.
fight it out in November. And
1010 says, quote, hey, you're the soccer man, unquote. The biggest diss you can give someone. Sorry, poor Nick. But no, I'm sorry. But Nick, I didn't mean you're the soccer guy.
That's fine.
I'm not going to. You know more about it than I am, so why should I hit up here and talk about it when I don't know what I'm talking about?
Let me answer your question with the question. Am I crying right now?
No, you're not.
No.
You're not.
Then it doesn't bother me. You're good.
Okay, speaking of, you Nashville SC played last night, and
did.
this was the CONCACAF, right? Mm-hmm. Was it Mocha?
Yes.
They were playing and won 4-0. Is that right?
It was a big scoreline.
Where's Mocha?
Dominican Republic.
Okay, thank you.
So, and for those of us that don't completely understand, CONCACAF is basically like the North American version of Champions League, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They actually renamed it to Champions Cup this year, unfortunately.
Okay. So now SC will play. They're not only playing that, they're playing their normal MLS schedule, but they will play Inter Miami, and Lionel Messi next week. And I hear tickets are pretty expensive.
Yeah, I think ticket prices might. Yeah, we're talking like the $300-$400 range.
No, Messi's coming back?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The whole gang's coming back, Joe. They're coming to eat breakfast with you. No, but Lionel Messi, coming to Nashville. These ticket prices are just out the wazoo. I've been looking on Twitter and stuff. People are upset with the club. They're upset with just Ticketmaster in general, about season ticket members that try to get these little exclusive links to the club, and they're just like, do better. I'm just like, I'm thinking, how is that possible? It just $300 a pop.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like that. I don't like that. The prices are going up, and I don't really know who controls that. If it's the club, if it's CONCACAF, if it's a little bit of both. But I also understand supply and demand, and if supply is low and demand is high, then the price goes up. So that's generally how it works. I don't agree with it. I think, especially, and look, I'm just speaking here. I don't have all the facts. I haven't done a lot of research on it. Just based on what I've seen on Twitter, I feel like if you're a season ticket holder, then you shouldn't have to pay out the wazoo like that. I mean, I feel like you should get a little more of a break. I understand that it's what?
You're trying to resolve with the professional sports team to give you a break when they're going to charge you as much. God bless
Again,
you,
this
man.
goes back to the whole millionaires and billionaires thing,
Right.
and what we were talking about earlier. So, look, I I understand the outrage. I would feel the same way. I mean, I have felt the same way. You know,
I will say this though about Inter Miami. This is their first game in the CONCACAF Champions Cup due to the fact that they won Leagues Cup last year, so it gave them that first round bye. I think this is just an easy scapegoat answer for CONCACAF and or whoever's controlling these ticket prices to just say, oh yeah, this Inter Miami, yep, $300, yep, that's going to be our set price.
and here's what I'm curious about. So if you're gonna raise the prices of tickets because Messi's coming to town, then I'm curious of what the crowd is going to look like. When is the game?
Thursday.
It's on a Thursday. At 8 p.m. So like that's a midweek game just about. Who's going to show up?
I don't know. I mean, I know how big of a deal Messi is. I know the following that SC has right now in this market. But my guess is, if you're averaging 300 a pop, probably not going to sell out. That's just on a Thursday night. And the Preds play too. So I mean, there's other things going on in Nashville that night. So if it's me, I'm going to watch ticket prices and wait till day of and kind of see what they do. That's because I could see them going down.
And then you have
I could be completely wrong.
No, you're right. And I think the thing is you have people that are going to be like, well, I got a great ticket right on my leather couch. I'm going to watch this game at home. Well, sure, you could do that.
But I know he came last August, July, whenever it was?
August 19th.
Okay, so people went crazy, rightfully so. But, I mean, he's the biggest athlete. Is he the biggest athlete in the world? I mean, top 3?
I would say of all time, yeah. Top 5, top 3.
Currently, right now.
Oh, number 1.
Okay.
If not LeBron James.
So I think with the pricing and everything, I mean, yeah, Chase, you had a good point. The supply and demand on that, and it's just the way it is. And if you're a season ticket holder thinking you're going to get a discount on that, then you're not. And I don't know why you think you would get a discount on that. I mean, you come to the bottom line is money, and that's what they want.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I understand that, but I do feel like that. Like we knew going into this season that there were going to be CONCACAF games at Geodis Park, right, Nick? Is that correct?
Yes.
So I feel like that with your season tickets, that there should be some sort of season ticket, loyalty discount built into those games. And maybe there is. I don't know if there is or there isn't, but I would think it would be a better one, for this game, because I know you didn't know that they could play Inter Miami. It's the way the tournament's gone.
Yeah, just the way the seeding kind of played out. I mean, and the thing is with the CONCACAF Champions Cup is that you're going to get a first leg and second leg. So both teams are going to get a home game.
Yeah.
What would you pay? I know we got to break real quick. What would you pay, Dr. Crane, to see Lionel Messi? If you had to pay, what's the top amount you would pay?
If I had to, maybe $500. Maybe.
If I again, I think he's a tremendous athlete. I respect what he's done. Soccer's just not. I'm not a huge soccer fan, so I'm not going to say I don't care, but I'm not going to pay those prices to go see him play. However,
right?
If it was like the World Series, see the Braves in the World Series, I paid $850.
To each their own.
And that was a no-brainer for me because that is the team that I've loved since I was a kid, and they had a chance to clinch.
Wow,
I agree.
$850. I don't think I'd pay $850 to see my son.
Well, see, if it's a cup game, oh my Lord! Come on, Joe. He loves you very much.
He does. He's a good boy.
It's okay, JJ. I'll change his mind.
Thanks.
But I was just saying real quick, just like if I had to go see him in a cup game, like Leagues Cup final, that's the price tag, $500 max. But if it's a regular game, $150, $200.
615-737-1025. I have a bone to pick with the professional football team, and we will do that next. What?
We have a hockey player next?
No. It's at 10:30.
Oh, okay. I need to read the grid. I'm so sorry.
This is what happens when you fall asleep like Cliff in the pre-show meeting.
Sorry, man.
Jason Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, hour number 2 here on this Thursday. I'm heading out for a few days, so I'm going to let you and Dr. Crane – well, Dr. Crane will be gone too.
Right. Thanks for the invite,
Yeah,
bozos.
sorry. I actually didn't know we were going to the same place.
Yeah, maybe the same flight.
Yeah, so that kind of worked out. But you're going to have Mike Organ come hang out tomorrow with you.
A lot of fun tomorrow. It'll be good times.
So, and Monday, I'll be back Tuesday. But I have a bone to pick, and look, it's not. I understand that there are more than just one factor in play here. But the Titans are going to break ground on new Nissan Stadium today at 1:30. They're going to stream that. Mayor Freddie O'Connell will be involved with that. Obviously, Amy Adams Strunk will be here with that. And other dignitaries, Governor Bill Lee will be here for that. So it's a big deal, and I get it, and you got to work everybody's schedule. But here's my thing. Could we not have looked at the calendar and gone, we need to do this, but the combine's going on, and the football team isn't very good. So maybe the GM and the head coach need to be in Indianapolis, working with the prospects instead of showing up for a photo op. Like, my thing is, I could not care less that the head coach and the GM are a part of this. Like, y'all go worry about the football team. They don't need to be a part of this. And so I'm a little irritated. We talked to Rand Carthon earlier this week. Brian Callahan was on earlier this week, and I'm not blaming them at all because I'm sure they were told that, hey, you need to be at this.
Right.
But I just don't feel like it's necessary for them to leave Indianapolis on the day that the linemen are there. And I get you can watch the tape and you can do Zoom interviews, and I hear people say that you don't get the same with the interviews as you used to and all that stuff. I would rather the coach and the GM be at the combine than be standing next to the owner and the mayor and the governor for 30 minutes for a picture while they put a fake shovel in the ground.
Counter to you. If they are not there, then you're not you, but your crowd are saying, well, where are they? Where's your GM? Where's your head coach? Are they not? I mean, they're.
See, I don't think so.
I think people would gripe. People gripe about anything.
Then do it on a different week.
I agree.
Do it the week of the combine.
Do it next week. Is there a deadline that they had to do it February 29th for the photo? Is the photographer not available after February 29th?
I don't know. I mean, my thing is, like, the damn thing's not going to be built for 3 years anyway.
Right.
Like, what does it matter if you wait a week?
I'm 100% behind you on this. It could be pushed back 3 or 4 days till next week.
Is Amy Adams Strunk on the phone with the mayor's office and the governor's office? And, hey, how about Leap Day? How about February 29th? Is there anything going on? And Amy's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't think that was the case, but, like, I mean, I would think somebody would be like, it's combine.
Somebody would, hey, yeah, can we push it back? We got a lot of the staff going to be up there.
And what could have happened, it could have been like the governor and the mayor like, well, no, we got to do it this day or, whatever. And, like, again, I get that there are a lot of other things than just the football team in play here, but
you could plan this out for back to December and say, hey, we're going to have the shovel and the groundbreaking. Let's do this March 4th. You schedule. There's no – look, you look at the NFL. Nothing's going to combine-wise. It's over with. I get this. But if you do it and the head coach and GM aren't there, there are more questions.
Sure.
It's going to be on all that. Why aren't they there? Why couldn't they? So it's another example of –
But if that had happened and, whoever, if it's Burke or whatever, says, like, well, they're at the combine, I would have defended that. Be like, they should be at the combine.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be here. They should be at the combine. They are where they need to be.
Then our question revolves to, well, why don't you just push it back a few days? Then that's it.
That's my thing is, like, did somebody not look at a calendar? Like, it's kind of like I, have made this reference before of, oh, we didn't know about, something like a big event that happens at the same time every year where I'm like, oh, did it sneak up on you? Did the Super Bowl sneak up on you?
Yeah.
It's the same damn week every year.
Yeah.
Planned this 4 years ago, Chase.
Yeah.
One leap year.
What I love about these groundbreakings, it's such a waste of time anyway.
It's so
as they
dumb.
put those hard hats on like they're actually doing work. Like they're gonna put the hard hats on today. It's gonna say Nissan, right? I get the photo op.
Or Titan. It'll have the Titan.
Yeah,
logo.
but here's my thing. Why not put them to work for 3 hours? Like, you're going to be there. We want you to get a bucket of dirt or mulch or whatever. I want you to work. I want Amy Adams, Freddie O'Connell, Bill Lee, whomever else to actually work today. I want them to get over there,
Dig a hole.
clock in. I'll make you a paper bag lunch or a paper sack lunch.
Could you just,
I want to see you bust your bottom to really help the stadium go. So let's see you put shovel in, get the wheelbarrow out,
I want to see.
have Amy Adams operate the crane, do something.
Yes.
Work today for us.
Okay, so here's my other question. Because to your point, like they do these little dog and pony shows, which is exactly what it is, to break ground. And they do it for everything. Like if HCA is building a headquarters, they do the same thing with that of like, oh, yay. Yeah. Like, whenever, if I ever get rich and have my own corporate headquarters, I'll invite you guys and we'll do the same thing.
Thank you.
We'll do a little picture with the gold shovel in the ground.
Don't forget the big scissors.
And the scissors for the ribbon cutting. We got that too. Are they actually so later today? Are they actually going to be not the dignitaries, but is the construction crew actually going to be working today, or is this like they're going to do the ceremonial groundbreaking and then in 2 weeks they'll actually start working?
That's a great point.
They'll probably work for an hour, go on a lunch break, and day's over. All right.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
be back in 2 weeks.
And don't get me wrong, I'm excited about the new stadium. I am for the new stadium. I think it's going to be tremendous for our city, but I'm impatient. And so now I'm kind of like, all right, just let me know when it's built, and there's going to be no parking for Nissan Stadium, which there isn't anyway. And it's going to be a pain in the ass to do anything over there for the next 3 years or longer. And then the new stadium will be built. Well, then they got to tear the old one down and, all that stuff. So I'm just like, just get me to when the new stadium opens.
yeah, I'm with you. But I want to see some actual work today.
So, I do too. 615-737-1025. Donovan says, agree on the groundbreaking. Bad timing, sharp organizations are sharp in everything.
That's a good point.
Viking Matt, who cares? They don't need to be there. I kind of agree with you. 5103 says, my wife loves to argue. Are you hiring? Oh, man.
That's a good one.
737-1025. Scott Nickel going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Looking forward to the conversation with him about some Predators prospects. But maybe I'm crazy, but I would rather the head coach and the GM be at the Combine and not here today. But 1:30 will be the groundbreaking of new Nissan Stadium over on the riverfront. So it's Chasing Big Joe, presented by Regal Realty Group here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Jason Big Joe, broadcasting from the Spring Hill Heating and Cooling Game Nashville studios, keeping your home feeling comfortable all year round. You can also weigh in on anything we're talking about on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com at 615-737-1025. Always enjoyed that one.
It is. We talk about the stadium there, and I like see a lot of people who are not re-upping with their PSLs. A lot of people. I know a guy who owns a box. He's done. I know friends. Nick Barris went on this rant today about how the stadium groundbreakings today, and he's done with it as well. He's a season ticket holder, and he's moved on. So, I mean, did a large majority of people not re-upping and not do? I don't know.
I know a few people that aren't, because the price is going to be too much.
Right.
Like the increase, and that you get a credit for your current PSL, but it barely does anything.
Here's what he says. Nick Barris on his Facebook page. Today's groundbreaking for the new Nissan Stadium. Crews will shove out the first scoop of dirt at 1:30. It's got a $2.1 billion price tag. I was told every single seat in the stadium will have a good view. Really, what a novel idea. Fans pay an arm and a leg for a ticket. I think you should expect a good view regardless of where you are sitting. I understand the excitement over this new stadium, but I've also heard from plenty of current season ticket holders and other fans not at all happy with what they hear the new sky-high ticket prices will be. He says, I'm a Titans fan, and I used to be a season ticket holder. No more. It's simply the cost. I'm sick and tired of dealing with obnoxious fans who take away from enjoying the live game experience as well. No doubt the new stadium will be state-of-the-art. I just will not be there. And he adds, what do you think? Well, I'm not a season ticket holder, so I'm not going to be there. But this is a sentiment I hear from a lot of different people. It's like, I can't afford it. And the Super Bowl does come here, which it will. Well, it's going to be priced more than what people can afford. Yeah. I'm not saying you got to price it where we all. I understand that, but just a lot of people, they're saying, I'm not going to do it. I'm done, and take care.
Jack wants to weigh in on the new stadium. Jack, what's up?
I think the new stadium is kind of a no-brainer from the standpoint that it'll be an enclosed, a roofed facility, and you'll be able to pay for it if they never play a football game in it at all. So from that standpoint, I get it. As far as it being affordable, going to a Titans game hadn't been affordable in a long time anyway. So, it's just how much more unaffordable is it going to be. To me, the real story behind all this is it seems as if somehow IndyCar has gotten blindsided that this was coming. And so now they're going to have to give up racing around downtown and being able to leverage everything that goes with that, from entertainment, food, etc. And they're going to move out there to the racetrack off of 840, which is going to be a big step backwards for them. And how this happened, I think, is a whole nother story that nobody's paying a lot of attention to.
Well, I appreciate the call, Jack. I mean, I've been paying attention to it. I actually think it's going to be fine. The racing out there when IndyCar was there before was a lot of fun. Now, it's obviously not a street course, but going through downtown, but I do know that after that first year, it feels like the hype kind of just dwindled for the Grand Prix. I mean, it was cool for the first one, but street courses are cool, but it's tough if you're there because you can't really see a whole lot.
But to me, that was the fun part about it. Yeah. I mean, you know more about racing than I do, but I just think the part of that was go downtown, hang out, Broadway, have fun, see the race, go back over. I mean, there was a lot more to it than just a race, and I think it'll be fine at the Speedway. They do a great job, but I think the allure of going through downtown on the shots and seeing everything, it was just a different experience that you normally do not get, and that's gone.
Yeah,
and I think that's sad.
And I think there's more than just the Titans, that whole factor. I mean, they had already moved on it. Quite frankly, they should have been on Broadway to begin with. Like, when they originally did the track, like, it should have incorporated Broadway. That made sense to me. Where they did it, I understand the real estate, but if you're going to do a race in Nashville, I feel like you've got to involve the most iconic street in Nashville.
Yep, I agree.
And so they didn't, and they were going to move it over there, for this year. I think there's just more to it than simply the Titans. I mean,
but you got to admit that was pretty badass going through town.
Sure, and I'd love to see it again, but I think you also have to understand that Like, the city's not paying for that. That's coming out of somebody else's pocket to do all that stuff. And they got to go and fix the streets, and they got to put the temporary walls up. I mean, it's not cheap to do that. Whereas IndyCar wants to be in Nashville, they want to have their championship in Nashville. They could go out to the super speedway and do that and, put on a good show. I get it. It's not a street course in the middle of downtown.
Right.
But, so I think it's more than just the Titans because they knew that was coming. IndyCar wasn't caught off guard. They knew that was going to be a part of it. They knew that. I mean, the stadium talk was there for the first Grand Prix. I mean, they knew that was probably coming down the pike. So,
yeah, it was so cool to watch it and see it down there. But, I mean, things happen, and now they'll put it out at the Speedway and do the best job possible that they can for that. It was so, man, going over the bridge and the helicopter shot and the Trans Am race the night before. I mean, there was a lot that went into it that made it really cool and a lot of fun. But, things change, things move on, and now, we wait for the stadium here in 3-4 years.
So Brock Bowers spoke at the Combine and said that he has met with the Titans. So that, I figured that would be happening, that he would have done that. Remember, he did say at the Super Bowl that, if he could pick, he would love to come to Nashville and play for the Titans. So, could he be an option at 7? I don't know, but we'll see. I know the linemen are supposed to work out today. I do, I had my rant about Ran and Brian Callahan not being there because they're coming to do the stadium groundbreaking thing, but I do kind of feel like from hearing people and talking to people, the Combine's kind of lost its luster.
It has, but here's another thing about that. It is a 40-minute flight on a private jet from Indianapolis to here. So you could be there in the morning, leave Indy, they're an hour ahead of us.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what they're doing.
Do that and fly down here and, put the shovel in the ground and go back and all that. Yeah. I don't know. Brock is in it, but no, I where I'm left tackle, man. I am left tackle all the way. That's where if Rand Carthen calls me and said, hey, what are you going to do? I thought I'd probably take a nap. But the draft, I'd take a left tackle. That's me. Left tackle or bust.
Well, what if I could tell you that, like, Malik Neighbors is Randy Moss?
You don't know that.
I'm saying what if. We like playing hypotheticals.
We love hypotheticals. I'm still give me a left tackle. And you got already a badass guard in Skoronski. There you go.
So Joe Thomas or Randy Moss?
Oh, now we go back and do this. Of course, Randy Moss. But you don't know.
But I mean, both are all-pro Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Randy Moss or Kevin Dyson.
No, but I'm not. We're not doing receiver. We're doing tackle receiver.
Okay.
So Joe Thomas, Hall of Famer, right?
He is.
Okay.
Randy Moss, Hall of Famer.
Right.
Yeah.
But which one would you take?
But you already know the outcome.
I know, but knowing that you need a left tackle or you need a receiver.
I'm giving left tackle right now. There's no guarantee that either one of them are going to be
taking Moss. Sorry.
Well, yeah, of course you are.
But that's my point. And, like, we don't know that Joe Alt could bust. Malik Neighbors could bust. They both could be busts. They both could be Hall of Famer All-Pros. You don't know.
Let's do the what if. What if Isaiah Wilson's a 3-time All-Pro at left tackle?
John Robinson is probably still the general manager.
And A.J.
of the
Brown's
Tennessee
still
Titans.
here. I mean, what if these choices hit? My goodness. And, then he's still here, and this team probably made the playoff the last 2 years. And rolling. And if Caleb Farley was really an outstanding whatever they put him safety or corner, that came out and was just to me, that's more bizarre than they took an injured player. They drafted an injured player already, and I don't understand that. And you can't use COVID as an excuse. You probably could a little bit for Isaiah Wilson because you don't have the face-to-face that happened and went on. But what if you'd hit on these two? I mean, it would be, whoa. And then you go on, and then you wouldn't needed to draft Burks at 16. You could
Sure.
We could do this game, and it's a fun game all day long.
Oh, it's a very fun game. Coming up next, though, we get back into the Predators. Scott Nickel, assistant GM, also the GM of the Milwaukee Admirals. The Ads have had a lot of successes of late. We'll talk to Scooter coming up next here on the Chasing Big Joe show, presented by Regal Realty Group. Also, right now, caller number 1 at 615-737-1025 will win a 4-pack of tickets to see Belmont take on Evansville at the Curb Event Center this Sunday, March 3rd. Caller 1 for a 4-pack of tickets to see Belmont take on Evansville at the Curb Event Center, 615-737-1025. Here on the Chasing Big Joe Show.
Hey, friends, Big Joe here. Listen, I'm talking to you about Middle Tennessee's best health care in the comfort of your own home. Yeah, I'm talking about medical house calls where the nearest clinic is your home. Website, medicalhousecalls.com. Listen, no more packing up and heading to an urgent care. No more sitting in a waiting room. No more driving across town just to sit there and wait. Board-certified nurse practitioners and physician's assistants come to you. Don't take my word for it. Just read the numerous fantastic reviews. There are so many that Medical House Calls has gotten. It truly is a game changer. In fact, Chuck McDowell was a client. He loved the service, the commitment, and the care so much he bought the company. And listen, for years, I had to leave work early to check on my mom when she was sick. Now you can have Medical House Calls check in on your loved ones to make sure everyone and everything is okay. It's simple. Visit the website today, medicalhousecalls.com, medicalhousecalls.com, where the nearest clinic is your home.
Chasing Big Joe, TV theme Thursday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Predators back in action tonight. A big one at Bridgestone Arena, going for 7 in a row against the Minnesota Wild. We say hello to assistant GM Scott Nickel, who is on the line with us. Scooter, what's up? How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Well, we're streaking right now. We're feeling good. 6 in a row for the Nashville Predators.
That's right. Milwaukee just handed the baton off, and now it's the next streak, right?
Yeah, 19 in a row for the Milwaukee Admirals, and it came to an end. But I know with you being so involved with them as their GM and all the prospects that everybody's excited about, that had to be a fun ride. And to me, a lot of it centered around Askarov, the young goaltender that everybody's excited to see here in Nashville very soon.
Yeah, it was a good ride. It was a great opening to the year, the new year, I guess you could say. It was, and what I liked about it is our guys it didn't consume them. They just went about their business. I think we had really good leadership with like the Gravells and McEwens and Cal O'Reilly. Those guys that kept everybody kind of grounded and leveled, and our coaching staff did a nice job of preparing these guys, and no moment was too big for them or not as important. So they just they were very, consistent, which was good to see. And it seemed like everybody, pulled the same way. We had good contribution throughout our whole lineup. Like by the end of the streak, we had 4 of our top 5 scorers hurt or up here in Nashville, and other guys just stepped up and they took the line. So it was a fun run, and our goaltending, it really started with our goaltending, and then our defense. We have a really good D-core back there. We don't give up a whole lot, and we don't spend a lot of time in our own end. And with having Askey, having the numbers he had, and even, Troy Grosnick, when he played, he was fantastic as well. So they really worked off each other nicely. And, yeah, it was, like I said, it was good. Now start another one.
Exactly. So how have you seen Yaroslav Askarov mature? I mean, we know he's got personality. He's a fun guy. He'll do the push-ups with the goalposts and or all those things. But how have you seen him mature into a pro hockey player through this stretch of games?
Well, I think it's all the things you guys don't see. Like, we're with him day to day. It's the preparation, the work ethic in practice, how he prepares for the games. And then when you see him in the game, I think he's a lot calmer. He's not chasing the puck as much. I think it's coming to him. And then anything in tight, he's elite down low. And I think one thing that he's worked on for sure is just the shots from outside. It's probably like zone 2 that at the beginning of the year he wasn't tracking, or maybe wasn't as aggressive looking around screens, and they were kind of beating him short side or high on the glove. So he's give Jason Barron and our goalie department lots of kudos for, it takes time. He's a young kid. And he hasn't played a whole lot of hockey when he came over. So last year he kind of got thrown in the deep end and did well. And then this year he's just making another step. I think the game when he came up and played in Washington, I think he got a lot of confidence through that game, and that's part of the process. If it's a goalie or if it's a forward or defenseman, they come up, play a couple games, get sent back down. They got that confidence and swagger. They think they can, and they grow off their game. And he's no different than one of our other guys coming up for the first time. So he's been really good. Our team's been good around him, and he's fun to watch.
Scott, how beneficial, Barry Trotz talked about this a little bit, but I know Pekka's not here every day, but when Pekka is able to work with Yaroslav or watch film and give that kind of feedback, how invaluable is that for him and the other goaltenders in the system?
Yeah, anytime you have Pekka around, it's awesome. He's lived it. It's not like he doesn't have an ego. Everybody knows what Pekka is all about. So he's easy to talk to. He's easy to communicate. Like, our young prospects are really lucky to have him. And then even when he does come to our training camp, development camp, he'll probably come to Milwaukee towards the end of the year, and just somebody to, he's been through the battles. He's played in the minors. He's been hurt. He's had his ups and downs, and it's just another great asset. I think we have our staff is fantastic right from the management down, and we had Mark Borowicki, who helps with the pro development side, which is a new position. I think that's really helped a lot with some of our younger players up in Nashville, and even some of our older guys. Like, the NHL's hard. It's a grind. It's a lot of hopefully it's not so much of a roller coaster, but he's been a really good shoulder to lean on as well.
We're talking to Scott Nickel, Assistant GM, Milwaukee Admirals GM, and Director of Player Development here on the Chasing Big Joe Show.
Hey, Scott, Joe here. Do you spend where do you spend most of your time? Milwaukee? Are you here? Are you back and forth? How does this work?
I'm all over the place, but yeah, I'm in Milwaukee quite a bit. I live here in Nashville. There's a direct flight southwest to Milwaukee. It's only about an hour. So if I'm not there, then I'm seeing some of our prospects. Like Trotzy and I went to Boston last weekend to see Matthew Wood play, and then the weekend before I was in Boston seeing some college free agents and some of our drafted players. And then if I'm not doing that, then I'm here for the day-to-day stuff, catch most of the games, as many as I can, usually during the week, because usually the weekends I'm off to Milwaukee or something. So it's good. It's lots of hockey. It's hockey every day, and it's fun to see these young kids grow, and it's fun to see some of the free agents coming in or some of our prospects and their maturity and taking that next step out of college or out of junior.
I know Barry is the GM, but do they come to you and say, hey, we need to bring up this player? And do you say, yeah, I like this one, but let's go with player X instead of player Y, or let's go with player A instead of B? How much input do you have when somebody needs to be called up?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. That's why I spend a lot of time in Milwaukee, and that's why I have a good relationship with our head coach, and then Bruno has a good relationship with Carl. So it's a group decision, but since I'm there a lot, and that's how we build our culture down there as well, is if it's your first round pick who's struggling and is not playing very well, we're not calling him up, because that sends shockwaves through our dressing room. So the people who get called up are they deserve to be called up, and there's probably a few other ones down there that are deserving of a call up. So it depends on the position, depends on where we are in the lineup and who's got hurt and who's hurt. But we all discuss it and banter back and forth, and so it's a group decision. But when you're there day to day and you see these guys where their game is trending, you always want to get the kids who are games trending when they're ready to come up, rather than when someone's struggling in the American League and just bringing it up because of his salary or where he was picked in the draft.
How much do I preface by saying I've got a 17-year-old son, and we talk all the time, and I tell him the mistakes I made, what not to do. How much time do you spend with the guys off the ice, just about personal things, and say, don't, be careful of this, be careful of that, of your own experience of playing in the National Hockey League? Because there's so many different people, and this, Scott, that are pulling you in every different direction.
Well, I have two sons that play junior hockey, and they're 19 and 20, so we're right in kind of that wheelhouse, right? So you learn from everybody else's mistakes, if it's Pinto on the gambling, if it's social media stuff. And that's where we start with the development camp, and the colleges and juniors do a nice job, but we just kind of keep reiterating it. And I think where I am in life with my kids, and then Carl Taylor, where he has kids around our age or my boy's age, so you kind of get their lingo and what kind of pressures they have and what kind of pitfalls that we need to stay away from. So there is constant, contact and communication with these guys, and we all learn from it. And so when they do come to Nashville, that's, they know what the pitfalls are for sure.
Do you find that the kids that come through, that they look at, you played over 600 games in the league, Bruno obviously played over 1,000 games in the league, that they notice that and know how invaluable that is to be able to lean on you guys and ask for your advice? Obviously they have to go their own path and live, their own life and career, but do you feel like that they're able to see that and then in turn lean on both of you for that experience?
I think so, to a certain degree. I think after a while that you're out, they just think you're a dinosaur and you played in the NHL. I can't believe you played in the NHL. But that's kind of with our group, like our development group. We have Rob Scuderi, who's won 2 Stanley Cups, Nathan Gerby, who's a undersized NHL player that played 600 games. You got Boro, which everybody knows his story. And you got Bruno, and you had even with Danny Hynode and Derek McKenzie, who's played the game. So it's I think we just relate a little bit better to the kids, because it is hard. It is you're not going to have your A game every single night, but let's not have a D game. Let's try and have around a C or C plus game. So maybe it does, but I think as the longer you're out of it, they're like, whatever, this guy played when they had black and white, no high def television. So we'll see how it goes. But I agree. I think it helps a little bit.
What is kind of your role through this time of year as Trotzy's talking to other teams and evaluating the roster, obviously with the big club, but also trying to build for the future as well? And so with the deadline looming, how do you play a role in that?
Well, I think we have I think it's always a team. We have Trotzy's our boss, and we have Jeff Kelty, Brian Poyle, and myself that are 3 assistant GMs. So I don't think one person can just do it themselves. And you have to spitball, you have to talk and communicate and have different ideas. And then you lean on your pro staff, you lean on your amateur staff if you're looking for prospects. So there's a lot that goes involved with it. But then at the end of the day, it's our 4 guys, and then Trotzy makes the decision. So there's lots of communication and lots of dialogue on lots of juggling and where the team is and where it's going and years down the road. So it's fun. It's every day. I can tell you right now, every day, it doesn't matter if it's this time of year or the summer, every day there is something going on, so which is exciting.
Well, Scott, really enjoyed the conversation with you. Good to catch up, and let's see if 7 in a row can happen tonight at Bridgestone Arena. We'll talk again soon.
Oh, it'll be a good game tonight, so hang on to your hat. It'll be fun.
No doubt. Thanks, Scott. Scott Nickel joining us here on the program. Assistant GM, Milwaukee Admirals GM, and Director of Player Development, and always enjoy the conversations with him. Predators in action tonight. Max Hers will have pregame for you at 6 o'clock here on 102.5 The Game. Looks like Lions will remain the same for morning skate. Forsberg did not skate this morning for the second game in a row, but no issues there. So it looks like the Lions will remain the same. UC Saros was in the starter's crease as well. We'll come back with celebrity birthdays and what day is it on the Chase and Big Joe show. But first, I'm in a giving mood. Callers number 4 and 5 to 615-737-1025. Scott Nickel was a part of those battles against the Detroit Red Wings back in the day. You'll win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on the Red Wings at Bridgestone Arena March 23rd. Callers 4 and 5 at 615-737-1025.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of
Jason Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, tune in to 94.9 The Fan tonight. Vanderbilt women's basketball takes on Missouri on the road. Pregame at 6:45 with our man Jake Lyman. Tip-off at 7. Coverage also available on the 94.9 The Fan app and on 94.9thefan.com. I know you have something that you wanted to say before we get to celebrity birthdays.
Yeah, so listen real quick here, and follow me for just a couple of minutes. This weekend, I know we ended the show telling the guys that we love you and we're here for you, and I know you're struggling going through some things, but this weekend I have to go to a funeral and a visitation. My daughter's grandfather passed away, and tragically and suddenly. But let me tell you what, he was a damn good man that made a lot of people happy on this planet, and his death was sudden and tragic, like I said. And my thing to you, my friends, is if you knew this was your last day on planet Earth, how would you approach it? You know what I would do? I would let go of so much nonsense that's in our lives to make you feel better. With that being the main thing of forgiveness. Just forgive. We're lucky that Dan McClendon knew that he was loved, and we all loved him, and we're going to miss him fiercely. And he was, again, a damn good man that passed away way too soon. So tell the people you love that you love them. Let the people that you know you pray for them, you're praying for them. Help the people that need helped. But my main thing is, if you knew this was your last day on earth, forgive people, all right? Let it go. I hated my father with every fiber in my body. I hated that man. And when he died, I went to his funeral. I hadn't talked to him in 35 years. And I looked in the casket, and I said, good. And I walked out, and a friend of mine that afternoon said, how did it go? And I said, well, I said my piece. He said, well, how did it make you feel? I said, well, I told him. He said, do you think he cares? What did you get out of this? And I was like, well, I got nothing out of it, right? For so long, I hated this man. To let that go was taking all this off my chest. So my charge to my friends, to you guys out there today is just forgive, right? Forgive and move on and love the ones that need to be loved. Pray for the ones that need to be prayed for and help the ones to be helped. We will celebrate this wonderful man this weekend. But I'm telling you, if it was your last day on earth, how would you approach and do things differently? Because we never know. We will mourn this man tremendously because of the kind of man he was and the positive impact he has, and with the promise that we know that we will see him in heaven again one day. That's the promise that we have that we know is going to come true. All right, so again, my friends, we love you. Just forgive and move on. I am the prime example of carrying so much hate for a man who did not care what I thought. And once I let go of that, I was fine. Thank you. Love each other. And again, forgive.
Amen to that. Well said, JoJo.
All right. I just had to get off my chest because it's a weekend of celebrating and saying goodbye to a wonderful man. And the family is just devastated at this loss. And we've all been through these losses, and there's tough.
Sure.
And what gets these through us is the promise, at least for me, that Jesus Christ is for us, and we will see him again. That's my promise. Now, you can believe however you want to believe. For me, it works for me that way. Just forgive, my friends, and love, and that's it.
Absolutely. We carry way too much burden and hate and people living in our head rent-free. So
we do, and that's the thing. I mean, your wonderful father passed away a few years ago. You never get over it. My mom passed away 13 years. I just saw a counselor last year about my mom, about grief, right? So I had to do that. So it's okay not to be okay and to reach out. And I just wanted people to know that, we love you, and it's okay that if you're struggling, but don't let it consume you, and reach out and talk to people. So that's it for today. Thank you,
100%.
Dr. Craig.
Well, I don't know if we have time for birthdays, but that's okay.
Well, there's just a few here.
Yeah. All right, real quick.
Tony Robbins' birthday is today. How old's Tony Robbins?
65.
I'm going to go 81.
He's 16.
I don't know who that is.
Well, he's 64. He's only celebrated 4 birthdays. Thank you, Sean Henry, with the list he sent us today. He's 65. He's 64, so Chase, you win. Antonio Sabato Jr.
I don't know who that is, so
he's an actor.
4.
Are these all going to be trick questions today? I'm going to go 12.
He's 13. Good
Hey,
job.
all right.
Ja Rule. How old is Ja Rule?
Ja Rule. 44.
Oh, man. 29.
12. And the final one, NHL goaltender Cam Ward. How old is Cam Ward in leap years?
Oh,
Oh, in leap years?
Yeah.
14.
I don't know. 8.
He's 10.
Okay.
Yeah, within
Nice,
2.
okay.
Good job. Thank you. That's a quick leap year, February 29th. Thank you, boys, for letting me have my moment there. I love you guys.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no. Absolutely. That's going to do it for me for the rest of the week. I'll be back on Tuesday. JoJo, you're going to hold it down. Dr.
Got it.
Crane's out tomorrow, too. So I know that you and Mike Organ will have some fun.
Yeah.
Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace live at Bridgestone Arena. They are next here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.